Have you ever stopped to think about what you're actually leaning on? I'm not talking about physical crutches. We're diving deeper than that. We're talking about the invisible crutches you've built your entire life around, those subtle supports that make you feel secure, yet secretly pull you further from God. Think about it. Maybe it's your savings account, your career, or even your reputation. Sure, these things aren't inherently bad, but here's the problem. They quietly become idols. We unconsciously start trusting them more than we trust God. Without even realizing it, we've replaced genuine faith with false security. And here's the shocking truth. These crutches aren't obvious. They're hidden, disguised in everyday comforts and achievements. They're lurking behind success stories, popularity, and even good health. But the moment one of these crutches is taken away, when your bank account empties overnight, your friends abandon you, or that job vanishes, your whole world collapses. That's when you realize you've been leaning on the wrong thing all along. But how can you spot these hidden crutches before it's too late? More importantly, what happens when the most trusted thing in your life betrays you? If you're like most people, one of your strongest hidden crutches is probably money. And let's be honest, it feels great to look at your bank balance and feel secure. But here's the truth nobody likes to admit. Money is the most deceptive crutch of all. Think about it. The world tells you money equals safety. Money means freedom. But time after time, we see this illusion shattered. Millionaires lose everything overnight. Stable careers collapse unexpectedly. Your financial safety net can vanish without warning, leaving you stunned and empty-handed. Remember the economic crashes we've seen in recent years? Even people who thought they were untouchable watched their life savings disappear in days. Suddenly, the so-called security of money vanished, and the harsh reality set in. If money was your God just abandoned you. So here's a reality check. True security can never be bought. Jesus himself warned that money is temporary and fleeting. If you're banking on your wealth to save you, you're standing on sinking sand. But if money can't be trusted, what about people, friends, mentors, even spiritual leaders? Surely they won't let you down, right? Well, sometimes the people we admire most end up being the very ones who break us. It's natural to trust people, especially those who've earned our respect. Your pastor, mentor, best friend, even your own family members. They've always been there, right? But here's a harsh reality many believers struggle with. People, no matter how well-intentioned, will eventually disappoint you. You've seen the headlines. Trusted religious leaders caught up in scandals, influential figures exposed for hypocrisy, and beloved friends who suddenly turn their backs. Each betrayal hits harder than the last because deep down, you never imagined they'd let you down. The truth is, humans are flawed, prone to mistakes and failures. When you build your spiritual foundation around people, no matter how good or wise, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. Even Jesus experienced betrayal from those closest to him. Judas, someone he trusted and taught, handed him over to be crucified. Peter, his passionate disciple, denied him in his darkest hour. If even Christ faced human betrayal, what makes us think we're immune? So ask yourself, who are you trusting more, people or God? Because when your heroes fall, there's only one place left to stand. But what if the real tension isn't between trusting people and God? What if the deepest struggle lies somewhere else entirely, between faith and something seemingly more trustworthy, like science? We live in a world driven by data, facts, and scientific breakthroughs. And let's face it, science has done incredible things. It heals diseases, explores space, and improves lives daily. But somewhere along the line, we've been led to believe science and faith are rivals, constantly at odds. And here's the uncomfortable question no one wants to say out loud. Have we started trusting science more than we trust God? Think about recent years, controversies around health choices, debates about morality, and discussions that pit faith against scientific research. We see headlines suggesting we must choose between believing God or trusting the latest study. But is this really a fair choice, or just another hidden crutch disguised as wisdom? Here's the truth. Science itself isn't the enemy. But when we elevate human understanding above God's wisdom, we risk building our lives on unstable ground. Science changes constantly. Today's fact is tomorrow's outdated theory. If your faith relies solely on human wisdom, you'll find yourself lost in a cycle of uncertainty. Yet God doesn't call us to ignore wisdom. He invites us to see beyond it. Faith isn't rejecting reason. It's recognizing that ultimate truth goes beyond what humans can measure in a lab. When we lean too heavily on what we can see, touch, and prove, we limit our trust in God's limitless power. But what about our own strength and abilities? Surely trusting ourselves is safe, right? Ironically, your biggest strength could actually become your greatest weakness. From an early age, we're taught to rely on our strengths. Believe in yourself. You can handle it. Stay strong. Sounds familiar, right? But here's the paradox few people want to talk about. Sometimes your greatest strength is actually your greatest weakness. Think about it. When you're confident in your abilities, whether it's your career, intelligence, charisma, or talent, there's a subtle danger. You begin to rely less on God, convincing yourself you can handle life on your own terms. After all, you're capable, strong, and independent, right up until the moment you aren't. The Apostle Paul said something profound about this in 2 Corinthians 12:9. "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." In other words, true strength doesn't come from self-reliance. It comes from admitting you're weak. But admitting weakness goes against everything we've learned. Yet it's only when your own strength runs out, when you hit rock bottom, that God's strength becomes clear. It's at your weakest point that you finally see His power in action, sustaining you, guiding you, and lifting you beyond your limits. So, here's the challenging question. Are you brave enough to embrace weakness, to lean entirely on God's strength instead of your own? Because when you finally let go, you'll discover peace, a peace deeper and more powerful than anything you've known before, even amidst chaos. Life gets chaotic. It's a fact nobody escapes. Family crises, job loss, heartbreak, health scares, sometimes it feels like everything hits at once. And when you're standing in the middle of that storm, peace feels impossible. But what if peace isn't about escaping chaos, but finding calm right in the center of it? That's exactly the kind of peace Jesus promised in John 14:27. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you." This isn't just empty encouragement, it's an invitation, a challenge. Jesus is saying, let the chaos rage around you, trust me, and you'll stand firm. And that's precisely the peace that confuses the world. It's peace so strong, so steady, that people can't help but wonder how you're staying calm when your life seems to be falling apart. You've probably met someone like that, someone whose world is upside down, yet they're steady, calm, and even joyful. That peace doesn't come from having control. It comes from knowing God is in control, especially when everything else isn't. But here's the catch. Achieving that kind of peace means releasing something even more difficult, letting go of guilt, shame, and the accusations that haunt us. Are you ready to finally silence those accusing voices? One of the hardest crutches to release is the guilt we secretly carry. You know what I'm talking about. That hidden shame, those relentless accusations in your head telling you you're never good enough, that you'll always be defined by your past mistakes. It's the kind of burden that nobody sees, yet it weighs heavier than anything. The Bible describes Satan as the accuser, the voice constantly whispering reminders of your failures, mistakes, and sins. He traps you in a cycle of shame, convincing you that you're beyond forgiveness. But here's the truth he doesn't want you to hear. Romans 8:1 says, "There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." Think about what that means. No condemnation. None. When you trust Christ, every accusation, every failure, every mistake you've ever made is erased. It doesn't matter what you've done or how long you've carried that guilt. Jesus declares you forgiven, justified, and completely free. But let's get real. Accepting that freedom can feel impossible. Guilt can become so familiar it feels safer to carry it around than to let it go. Yet that's exactly what Jesus wants, for you to let go and trust Him fully. Because when you finally release that guilt, you'll find something even more powerful than freedom. You'll discover grace. Radical, undeserved, life-changing grace. Are you ready to see what grace can really do? Grace is one of those words we've all heard, but most people never truly grasp how radical it really is. We talk about grace as a nice idea, something gentle and comforting. But the grace God offers is powerful, transformative, and shockingly undeserved. Grace isn't just forgiveness, it's complete restoration. Imagine someone forgiving your debt and then handing you keys to their mansion. It sounds crazy, but that's exactly what God's grace does for us spiritually. Ephesians 2:8 says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing, it is the gift of God." This isn't about earning approval or cleaning yourself up first. You don't deserve it, you can't earn it, and that's the entire point. Grace meets you in the middle of your mess and says, "You're mine, you're forgiven, you're free." Think about people whose lives were completely changed by grace. Addicts who found freedom, criminals who became missionaries, broken people rebuilt from the ground up. This isn't fiction, it's happening every day, and it can happen to you. When you remove every crutch, money, people, self-reliance, guilt, and cling solely to Jesus, grace isn't just a comforting thought, it becomes your lifeline. But here's the question you need to answer right now. Are you brave enough to let go of every other support and trust that God's grace is truly enough? Because when you finally do, you'll realize you're no longer standing on shaky ground. You're standing on a solid rock, unshakable, immovable, and free. Every single one of us leans on something: money, people, knowledge, our own strength, even our shame. But as we've seen, each of these crutches eventually breaks, leaving us empty-handed and searching for something real. The truth you've been avoiding is this: only Jesus Christ can hold the weight of your trust. Everything else is temporary, fleeting, and ultimately disappointing. Jesus isn't offering you a temporary fix. He's offering you a new foundation, solid, dependable, unbreakable. So it's time for honesty. Take a real look at your life right now and ask yourself, what's my crutch? And once you identify it, are you courageous enough to let it go? Because here's the promise waiting on the other side: genuine peace, radical grace, true strength, and unshakable security, the kind only found in trusting Christ completely. The decision is yours. Will you cling to your crutches, or will you finally stand firm on the grace that never fails? Your answer could change everything.